The email arrived on a Tuesday morning while I was feeding Lily her breakfast. She was 3 years old and currently in a phase where everything had to be pink. Pink plate, pink cup, pink everything. She was covered in yogurt and singing a song she'd invented about unicorns. I opened the email one-handed while wiping her face with the other. Subject: Dad's 65th birthday celebration important. I should have known from the subject line. Any email from my brother that started with important in all caps was never actually important. It was just his way of making sure everyone paid attention to him. Family, it began, because calling us by name would be too personal. Dad's turning 65 this Saturday. We're having a celebration dinner at Marcello's at 7 p.m. Dress code formal. This is an adults-only event. Please do not bring children. This is a sophisticated evening and we want to keep it that way. RSVP by Thursday. Kevin. I read it twice. Then a third time. Adults only. I was a single mother. My daughter was 3. I didn't have a nanny on speed dial or a convenient ex-husband to take her for the weekend. My parents knew this. My entire family knew this. Which meant the email was basically saying, "Don't come, Natalie." I set down my phone and looked at Lily. She was trying to feed yogurt to her stuffed elephant, completely absorbed in her imaginary game. Happy. Perfect. The best thing that had ever happened to me. And the thing my family pretended didn't exist. My phone buzzed. A text from my mother. "Natalie, you saw Kevin's email? We really hope you can make it. Maybe you can find a sitter." I typed back, "On 3 days' notice? For a Saturday night? That's not realistic." Her response came immediately. "Well, we really want this to be a nice evening for your father. No distractions. You understand." Distractions. My daughter was a distraction. I didn't respond. Another text, this time from Kevin. "Mom said you're making this difficult. It's just one dinner. Can't you figure it out?" Then my sister Amanda. "Seriously, Nat? It's Dad's birthday. Just leave Lily with a babysitter like a normal person." A normal person. As if single mothers weren't normal. As if my life was somehow abnormal because I'd chosen to keep my daughter after her father left. I took a deep breath. Typed a response to the family group chat. "I won't be able to attend. Have a wonderful dinner. Kevin, typical. Always has to be about you. Amanda, Dad's going to be so disappointed. Mom, Natalie, please don't do this. It's important to your father." I muted the conversation and finished feeding Lily her breakfast. Then my phone rang. I almost didn't answer. But I did. "Natalie." His voice was stern. The voice he used when he was about to lecture me. "Your mother tells me you're not coming to my birthday dinner. I can't find childcare on 3 days' notice, Dad. And the invitation said no children. So find someone. You're an adult. Figure it out. It's not that simple. Lily doesn't do well with strangers and my regular babysitter is out of town. I'd need someone I trust and that's not something I can arrange in 3 days. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Ever since you had that child, everything is an excuse. Everything is complicated. Why can't you just be normal for one night?" That child. He called his granddaughter, that child. "Her name is Lily," I said quietly. "And she's your granddaughter. She's the result of a poor decision with a man who abandoned you. And now you expect everyone to rearrange their lives around your mistake." The words hit like a physical blow. Mistake. He'd called Lily a mistake before but never quite so directly. "I'm not expecting anything," I said, my voice steady despite the rage building in my chest. "I'm simply declining an invitation to an event I cannot attend. Have a good birthday, Dad. If you don't come, don't bother coming around for a while. I'm tired of your drama, Natalie. Tired of your excuses. Tired of you using that child as a shield for your failures. Understood. Enjoy your dinner." I hung up before he could say anything else. Lily looked up at me from her yogurt-covered elephant. "Mama's sad." I smiled at her. "No, baby. Mama's fine. We're going to have a special dinner on Saturday. Just you and me and some very special friends. Because I'd just made a decision. If my family wanted an adults-only dinner at Marcello's, they could have it. But so could I. I made 3 phone calls that morning. The first was to Governor Richard Morrison. We'd met 4 years ago when I was consulting on his education reform initiative. I'd been one of the lead policy analysts on his campaign team, back before I got pregnant, back when I was still trying to make my family proud by working in politics. Natalie. His voice was warm. It's been too long. How's my goddaughter? She's perfect. Growing like a weed. Actually, that's why I'm calling. Are you free Saturday night? For you two, boys. What's the occasion? I'm finally taking you up on that dinner invitation. There's something I want to do and I'd love your support. Mysterious. I like it. Count me in. The second call was to Marco Vitelli, the owner of Marcello's. I'd helped his daughter get into an excellent graduate program last year, called in a favor with a professor I knew, wrote a glowing recommendation. His daughter was thriving now, working on her doctorate. Natalie. How can I help you? Marco, I need a table for Saturday night. 7:30. The private corner table with the best view. Saturday is very busy, but for you? Of course. How many guests? 4. And Marco? I need complete discretion. There will be another party in the main dining room, my family. I'd prefer they not know I'm there until the right moment. There was a pause. Then, I understand. The corner table is private, partially screened. Perfect for what you need. Consider it done. Thank you, Marco. No thank you. My daughter speaks of you often. You changed her life. This is the least I can do. The third call was to my lawyer, Patricia Chin. She'd been helping me with some intellectual property issues related to my consulting business. Patricia, I need to ask you something. That offer you mentioned last month, the board position at the Education Foundation. Is it still available? The offer stands until you accept or decline. Why? I'd like to accept. And I'd like to make the announcement on Saturday. That's short notice for a press release. I don't need a press release. I just need documentation. Official letters. Something tangible. Natalie, what are you planning? I'm planning to have dinner with my daughter and some friends. That's all. She laughed. All right. I'll have everything ready by Friday. Saturday arrived. I dressed Lily in her favorite pink dress. Not because it was formal, but because she loved it. I wore a simple black dress, elegant but understated. Nothing too flashy. I didn't need flash. I had something better. I had the truth. Governor Morrison picked us up at 6:30. He was in a suit, casual by his standards, and his wife Sarah was with him. There's my beautiful goddaughter. He scooped Lily up and she giggled. She loved Uncle Richard, as she called him. He'd been there the day she was born, had held her in the hospital, had promised to always be in her life. Thank you for dinner. Lily said in her 3-year-old voice. Anything for you, princess. You ready for fancy food? I want chicken. Then chicken you shall have. We drove to Marcello's. The restaurant was already busy. I could see cars parked along the street, well-dressed people heading inside. My family would be arriving soon for their 7 o'clock reservation. Marco met us at a side entrance. Ms. Warner, Governor, welcome. Your table is ready. This way, please. He led us through the kitchen. Lily was fascinated by all the chefs and the big pots, and into the private corner of the dining room. The table was perfect, partially screened by decorative panels, but with a clear view of the entire restaurant. We could see everything. They would see nothing. Not until I wanted them to. This is perfect, Marco. Thank you. My pleasure. And might I say the main party you mentioned? They're seated in the center. Large table. Very vocal. I smiled. That would be my family. Always needing to be seen, to be heard, to be acknowledged. We ordered. Lily got her chicken fingers, fancy chicken fingers, but chicken fingers nonetheless. The adults ordered from the special menu Marco had prepared. And we talked. About policy, about education, about Sarah's work at the children's hospital, about everything and nothing. Lily was being so good. Coloring on the paper menu Marco had brought her, telling elaborate stories about her stuffed elephant that she'd insisted on bringing. She's remarkable, Sarah said, watching Lily. So articulate for 3. She's my miracle, I said quietly. My family calls her my mistake. They've never even tried to know her. Their loss, Governor Morrison said firmly. This child is going to change the world someday. I can feel it. At 7:15 I saw my family arrive. Dad first, looking distinguished in his suit. Mom on his arm in a blue dress. Kevin and his wife. Amanda and her husband. 12 people total, extended family, Dad's golf buddies, some neighbors. They were seated with great fanfare. Dad held court immediately, everyone's attention on him. The birthday king. I watched from behind my screen. Watched them laugh. Watched them order expensive wine. Watched them celebrate without me, without Lily, without any acknowledgement that we existed. You okay? Governor Morrison asked quietly. I'm fine. Actually, I'm better than fine. Because I finally see them clearly. At 7:45, Marco approached our table. Ms. Warner, whenever you're ready. Give me 5 more minutes. Let Lily finish her ice cream. My daughter was eating chocolate ice cream, completely happy, completely oblivious to the drama about to unfold. I wanted to preserve that innocence as long as possible. At 7:50, I nodded to Marco. He smiled and disappeared. 2 minutes later, the lights in the restaurant dimmed slightly. Not enough to be alarming, just enough to shift the mood. Then Marco's voice came over the sound system. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. We have some distinguished guests with us tonight, and I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge them. My family looked around, confused. This wasn't typical for Marcello's. Joining us this evening is Governor Richard Morrison and his wife Sarah. Governor, Mrs. Morrison, welcome. Heads turned. My family's included. They scanned the restaurant, trying to spot the governor. The governor is here celebrating with a very special family tonight. Natalie Warner and her daughter Lily. I saw my mother's head snap around. Saw my father's face go pale. Ms. Warner, as many of you may not know, is one of the leading education policy consultants in the state. Her work on the governor's education reform initiative has impacted over 500,000 students. This week, she accepted a position on the board of directors for the State Education Foundation, where she'll be overseeing a $42 million literacy program. The restaurant erupted in polite applause. Governor Morrison stood, and that was the signal. I stood too, holding Lily. The decorative screen was moved aside. And there we were. In full view. At the best table in the restaurant. With the governor of the state holding my daughter, both of them waving at the crowd. My father was staring. Not just looking, staring. His mouth actually open. Mom had gone white. Kevin looked confused. Amanda looked angry. Governor Morrison walked toward their table, still carrying Lily. I followed. Sarah followed. We were a united front. Excuse me, Dad said to the governor, not recognizing him yet. That's my daughter. And my granddaughter. I know, Governor Morrison said warmly. I'm Richard Morrison, Lily's godfather. And I have to say, Mr. Warner, you've raised an extraordinary woman. Natalie's work has been instrumental in shaping education policy across the state. You must be very proud. Dad just stared. Recognition was dawning. The governor of the state, holding his granddaughter, calling his daughter extraordinary. I didn't know she'd be here, Dad stammered. Really? She made the reservation weeks ago. Best table in the house. Governor Morrison smiled, but there was steel in it. Though I understand you had a birthday dinner planned for tonight as well. Happy birthday, by the way. 65, right? Yes, 65. Wonderful age. I turned 65 last year. Spent it with family. All my family. Including my grandchildren. Can't imagine celebrating without them. The emphasis on all my family wasn't subtle. Neither was the mention of grandchildren. This is unexpected, Mom said weakly. Is it? I asked quietly. You're at Marcello's. I'm at Marcello's. It's Dad's favorite restaurant. You didn't think I might come here tonight. But the invitation said no children. I know. So I made my own plans. With people who actually want to spend time with Lily. People who see her as the blessing she is, not the mistake you've always claimed. Natalie, we never said. You called her that child, did? On the phone 4 days ago. You said she was the result of a poor decision. You called her a mistake. The nearby tables had gone quiet. People were listening now. I didn't mean. You meant every word. And you know what? That's fine. Because while you were planning your adults-only party, I was building a life. A career. A future. For me and for Lily. I pulled out the envelope Patricia had prepared. Handed it to my father. That's my official appointment to the State Education Foundation Board. It's a 5-year term. I'll be overseeing $42 million in funding. I'll be shaping education policy for the entire state. I'll be working directly with the governor's office, with state legislators, with education leaders across the country. I pulled out a second envelope. That's the announcement of my promotion at my consulting firm. I'm now a senior partner. My salary doubled. I'll be leading a team of 12 policy analysts. A third envelope. And that's the contract for my book. A major publisher. A book about education reform, about policy, about creating systemic change. It releases next spring. I set all 3 envelopes on their table. My family stared at them like they might explode. All of this happened while you were pretending I didn't exist. While you were treating my daughter like an embarrassment. While you were planning dinners I wasn't invited to. We didn't know, Amanda said softly. You never told us any of this. You never asked. Not once in 3 years did any of you ask what I was doing. You assumed I was struggling. You assumed I was failing. You assumed single motherhood meant I'd given up on life. But you always looked so ordinary, Kevin said. You dress simply. You drive an old car. You live in that small apartment. Because I'm practical. Because I don't need designer clothes or fancy cars to validate my worth. Because I'd rather invest in Lily's future than in impressing people who don't matter. Governor Morrison shifted Lily in his arms. She was getting sleepy, her head on his shoulder. I think we should let you folks get back to your dinner. But Mr. Warner, one more thing. Lily here? She's my goddaughter. Which means she's under my protection. She's part of my family. And I take care of my family. All of them. Always. The message was clear. Hurt Lily, hurt Natalie, and you'll answer to the governor. We walked back to our table. The restaurant was absolutely silent except for our footsteps. As we sat down, Marco appeared with a birthday cake. A small one just for our table. Happy birthday, he said loudly enough for the whole restaurant to hear. To Mr. Warner in the center and to Ms. Warner at table 1. Both born on the same day, both celebrating tonight. I hadn't told my family that I shared my father's birthday. We'd been born exactly 35 years apart. Same day, same hospital actually. But they'd never remembered. Never celebrated mine. It was always just Dad's day. The restaurant sang happy birthday. To both of us. Dad's table sang weekly. Everyone else sang to me, to our table, to the governor holding my sleeping daughter. We left shortly after. Lily was tired and I'd made my point. As we walked past my family's table, Mom reached out. Natalie, wait. Please. I stopped. Can we talk? After tonight? Can we try again? I looked at her. At all of them. At their confused, guilty faces. I don't know, I said honestly. You spent 3 years erasing us. Pretending we didn't exist. Being ashamed of your own granddaughter. That's not something you fix with one conversation. But we want to try, Dad said. His voice was small now. None of the authority from before. Please. Give us a chance. Why? Why should I? Because we're family. Family doesn't treat each other the way you've treated us. Family doesn't call children mistakes. Family doesn't plan celebrations that deliberately exclude people. We were wrong, Kevin said. I was wrong. The invitation, the adults-only thing, that was my idea. I thought it would be easier without kids running around. Lily doesn't run around. She's 3. She sits quietly, she colors, she uses her manners. You've never even given her a chance to show you who she is. Then let us, Amanda said. Let us meet her. Really meet her. Get to know her. I looked down at Lily, asleep now in the governor's arms. So peaceful. So perfect. So completely unaware of the drama surrounding her existence. I'll think about it, I said finally. But no promises. And no expectations. If we try this, it's on my terms. You want to be in our lives? You earn it. You show up. You show respect. You treat Lily like the blessing she is. Understood. They nodded. All of them. I'll call you next week. Maybe we can have coffee. Just talking. No big dinner, no performance. Just honest conversation. If that goes well, maybe we try a family visit. Small. Casual. At a park where Lily feels comfortable. Thank you, Mom whispered. Don't thank me yet. This is a trial. One wrong move, one dismissive comment, one moment of treating Lily as less than she is, and we're done. Permanently. We understand. Governor Morrison stood up, cradling Lily. We should get this little one home. Long day for such a small person. We walked out together. The entire restaurant watched us leave. The governor, the successful consultant, the sleeping child, and the family we'd chosen rather than the family we'd been born with. In the car, Sarah turned around from the front seat. You were magnificent in there. I was angry. You were honest. There's a difference. Do you think I was too harsh? I think you were exactly harsh enough. They needed to see what they'd been missing. What they'd been dismissing. Governor Morrison caught my eye in the rearview mirror. You know I'm proud of you, right? Not just for tonight but for everything. The work you do, the mother you are, the person you've become. Lily's lucky to have you. I'm lucky to have her. Will you really give them another chance? I don't know. Maybe. Part of me wants to. Part of me thinks they don't deserve it. They probably don't. But that's not really the question, is it? The question is whether you want them in your life. Whether having a relationship with them, flawed as it may be, is worth the effort. And what do you think? I think only you can answer that. But I also think Lily deserves to know her grandparents. If they can learn to be worthy of her. The following Tuesday I met my mother for coffee. Just the two of us. Neutral territory, a Starbucks halfway between our homes. She looked older than I remembered. Tired. She ordered tea, then spent 5 minutes adding sugar and stirring it, clearly nervous. Thank you for meeting me, she said finally. You said you wanted to talk. I did. I do. Natalie, I owe you an apology. A real one. Not just, I'm sorry you're upset, but a real acknowledgement of what we did wrong. Okay. We treated you terribly after you got pregnant. We were embarrassed. Your father especially. He told everyone you were going places, working for the governor's campaign, dating that lawyer, planning a big career. And then you got pregnant and he didn't know how to explain it to his friends. So instead of supporting me, you pretended I didn't exist. Yes. And that was wrong. You needed us and we abandoned you. And then when Lily was born, instead of falling in love with her like we should have, we saw her as evidence of your mistake. As proof that you derailed your life. But I didn't derail my life. I built a better one. I know that now. Saturday night, seeing you there with the governor, hearing about your work, your position, your book. Natalie, you've accomplished more than any of us. And you did it while raising a child alone. That's extraordinary. It's not extraordinary. It's just life. My life. Can I meet her? Really meet her? Not at some restaurant or public place, but in your home where she's comfortable. Where I can see her toys and her books and her life. I sipped my coffee. Thought about it. Thought about the risk of letting them back in, of letting Lily get attached, only to have them disappoint her later. Thursday afternoon, I said finally. 3 o'clock. You can come to our apartment. Just you. Not Dad, not Kevin, not Amanda. Just you. We'll have tea. Lily will show you her room. And we'll see how it goes. Just me. Baby steps, Mom. You want to be in our lives? You start small. You earn trust. Then maybe we expand the circle. That's fair. Thursday at 3. I'll be there. Thursday came. I cleaned the apartment, not because it was dirty but because I needed something to do with my nervous energy. Lily helped or tried to help, mostly just moving toys from one place to another. Grandma coming? She asked. Yes, baby. Grandma is coming to visit. Why she never come before? God, how do you explain that to a 3-year-old? Grandma was confused. She made some mistakes. But she wants to know you now. Is that okay? Okay. I show her my elephant. The doorbell rang at exactly 3. I opened it to find my mother holding flowers and looking terrified. Hi, she said. Hi. Come in. She stepped into our small apartment. It was modest, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a combined living and dining area. Nothing fancy. But it was ours. And it was filled with love. Lily peeked out from behind my legs. Shy suddenly. Lily, this is Grandma. My mother knelt down, tears already in her eyes. Hi, Lily. It's so nice to meet you. I'm 3. Lily announced. I know. And you're so big. I have an elephant. Want to see? I would love to see your elephant. For the next hour I watched my mother play with my daughter. Really play. Getting down on the floor, looking at toys, listening to elaborate stories that made no sense but were told with such conviction. Laughing at Lily's jokes. reading books in silly voices. At one point Lily climbed into her lap. Just climbed right up and settled in like she belonged there. My mother's face crumpled and she hugged Lily tight. "I'm so sorry," she whispered to me over Lily's head. "I'm so sorry for missing this. For missing her. For missing you. You're here now. Can I come back? Can I do this again?" "Yes. But Mom, you need to understand something. This isn't about making yourself feel better. This isn't about easing your guilt. This is about Lily. If you're going to be in her life, you have to actually be in her life. Consistently. Reliably. No more vanishing when it's inconvenient. I understand. And I want that. I want to be her grandma. Really be her grandma. Then we'll try." Over the next few months, my mother came every Thursday. Just her, just us. Building a relationship with Lily. Learning who she was. Falling in love with her, finally. Eventually we added Dad. Then Kevin and Amanda and their kids. Slowly. Carefully. Each person earning their place in Lily's life. There were setbacks. Comments that stung. Moments where old patterns resurfaced. But we worked through them. Because I'd laid down clear boundaries and I enforced them. 6 months after the restaurant incident, we had a family dinner at my parents' house. All of us. Lily was the center of attention. The uncles and aunts she'd never known, the cousins she'd never played with, all of them finally seeing her. Dad pulled me aside during dessert. "I need to say something." "Okay." "That night at the restaurant. When you showed up with the governor. When you laid out everything you'd accomplished. I was humiliated. Good. But I deserved it. All of it. I'd been a terrible father. I'd said unforgivable things. And you made sure I knew it." "Yes, I did. But you also gave me a second chance. You didn't have to. You could have walked away and never looked back. But you didn't. I did it for Lily. She deserves grandparents. No, you did it for all of us. Because you're a better person than we are. Because you believe in second chances even when they're not earned." He pulled out an envelope. "This is for Lily. For her college fund. It's not much yet, but I'll add to it every month. Because I want to be part of her future. Part of her life." I took the envelope. Opened it. A check for $10,000. "Dad. I know it doesn't make up for what we did. For what I said. But I want to try. I want to be the grandfather she deserves. Will you let me?" I looked across the room at Lily. She was laughing with her cousins, completely happy, completely oblivious to the adult drama around her. "Yes," I said. "But Dad, if you ever call her a mistake again. If you ever make her feel less than loved. We're done. Understood." "Understood." 2 years later I was at the state capitol for a budget hearing. Governor Morrison was there, other board members, legislators. We were fighting for more education funding and the debate was intense. During a break my phone buzzed. A text from my mother with a photo attached. It was Lily at her 5th birthday party. Surrounded by family. My parents, my siblings, cousins, everyone. And in the center, wearing a crown, my daughter was grinning at the camera. The text read, "Thank you for giving us this. Thank you for giving us her. We love you both so much." I showed the photo to Governor Morrison. "Beautiful family," he said. "There now. Wasn't always that way. The best families aren't born, they're built. You built this, Natalie. You demanded better and you created better. I just wanted my daughter to grow up loved. And she is. By everyone. Including a state governor who still can't believe he gets to be called Uncle Richard." I laughed. Put my phone away. Went back into the hearing room. Because I had work to do. A state to improve. Policies to shape. A future to build. For Lily and for all the other children who deserved better. And I had a family waiting at home. Flawed, complicated, but finally real. It wasn't perfect. But it was ours. And sometimes that was enough. That Saturday night after the hearing, after the long week, I picked Lily up from my parents' house. They'd been watching her while I worked. "Mama." She ran to me, her arms full of drawings she'd made. "Hi, baby. Did you have fun with Grandma and Grandpa?" "Yes. We made cookies and played games and Grandpa read me 3 stories. My father appeared in the doorway. "She's welcome anytime, you know. We love having her." "I know. Thank you. Natalie, one more thing." "Yes. I'm proud of you. I should have said it years ago, but I'm saying it now. I'm proud of the mother you are. The professional you are. The person you are. You're remarkable. I felt tears prick my eyes. Thank you, Dad. That means a lot. Happy birthday, by the way. 37 today, right? You remembered. Of course I remembered. You're my daughter. How could I forget? For the first time in years on the birthday we shared, he'd actually acknowledged it. We're having cake, Mom called from inside. For both birthdays. Yours and your father's. Come back in for just a minute. So we did. Lily and I walked back into my parents' house and there was a cake. 2 names on it. Mine and Dad's. Celebrating together. Finally. We sang. We ate cake. We laughed. And for the first time in a very long time I felt like I belonged. Not because I'd proven myself. Not because I'd succeeded despite them. But because they'd finally learned to see me. The real me. The me I'd always been. It had taken a dramatic dinner with the governor. It had taken public embarrassment. It had taken hard boundaries and difficult conversations. But we'd gotten here. To this moment. To this cake with 2 names on it. To this family that finally felt like family. As we drove home, Lily fell asleep in her car seat, exhausted from a day of being loved by everyone. My phone buzzed. Governor Morrison, happy birthday, Natalie. Heard through the grapevine you spent it with family. The chosen one and the born one both. That's what life should be. I smiled and typed back, thank you. For everything. For being there that night at the restaurant. For being Uncle Richard. For being family. Always. That's what godfathers are for. See you at the next board meeting. And bring Lily. The Capitol staff love her visits. I put my phone down and drove home through the city lights. To our apartment. Our small, perfect, love-filled apartment. Where a 3-year-old had taught a whole family how to love. Where a single mother had built an empire while everyone thought she was struggling. Where a woman had demanded respect and refused to settle for less. And where, finally, she'd gotten everything she deserved. Not because it was given to her. But because she'd built it herself. One boundary at a time. One honest conversation at a time. One moment of refusing to be invisible at a time. Until she was impossible to ignore. Until she was undeniable. Until she was exactly who she'd always been meant to be. Successful. Strong. And most importantly, enough. Always enough.